Peace was good. We'll get to an installment of my CD collection. This is part 7. Let's get the show started. And this is from the cabinet for all my subscribers that posted down in the description box in part 6 that suggested me to do on the cabinet. So these are from the cabinet. Alright? Put the tunes down. Playing some People Without the Stairs. Trying to get my hands on the album. That shit's rare as fuck. Alright. Next album of today is the Black Mass soundtrack released in 1999. It's pretty dope. The movie's pretty dope. Definitely one of my favorite Jet Li movies. Songs by 701 Squad. Never heard of them. Natural Elements, a dope group. I've mentioned them before. Deadly Snakes, never heard of them. Crooked Letters featuring Noreaga, DITC, DeFari, dope West Coast MC, DV alias Christ, another dope MC slash singer. DV alias Christ, you guys might know him from his affiliation with Smooth the Hustler and Trigger the Gambler. Pretty dope. Half a Mil, rest in peace, dope MC. Carden, Harlem MC. Screwball, Queens from Queensbridge. Willie Stubbs, dope MC. Everlast from House of Pain. Jig Masters with Criminal and DJ Spinner. Bigfoot, dope BX MC, underground MC is pretty dope. DJ Revolution, you guys know DJ Revolution. Overall, very dope. If you like late 90s hip hop, this is definitely a dope album to pick up. Black Mass, the soundtrack released in 1999. Then I got another copy of Last Chances No Breaks. Dope. And no, I'm not getting rid of it. I'm keeping them shits. Sorry about that. But I already explained about this album. And we got Capone-N-Noreaga's first solo album released in 2005. Pain, Time and Glory released in 2005. This album I was very disappointed in. I expected better. You know, I think if he had released this album back in probably like the late 90s, early 2000s, I think it would have been a lot better. The production on this album was kind of meh. You know what I mean? It was like typical. It felt like more like a mixtape more than an album. That's how bad this album is. I was very disappointed with this album. I just bought it because of the strength of me being a fan of CNN, but you know, very disappointed with this album. Not even worth having if you ask me. Then we got Infamous Blood Thicker Than Water, Volume 1, released in 2004. This is their second album. This is actually a pretty good album. I like it a lot. It's pretty dope. It comes with a DVD. This is the CD, the album. Flip it over. Then you got the actual DVD right here. It's pretty cool. You know, it shows them, you know, going through Queensbridge and recording songs, you know, giving like the backdrop history of Infamous on, you know, how they got started and stuff like that. You see a lot of dope MCs, like you see a lot of QB artists like Cormega, you know, Prodigy, Mobb Deep, Havoc, you know, Alchemist. You know, you just see like the behind the scenes and all that, you know, see how they grew up and shit. Seeing I believe Ronald Test, you know, a lot of people, you know what I mean? Pretty dope. I highly recommend it. And unfortunately, I'm friends with Ty Nitty, and he says Infamous Mob is no more. They broke up. They're doing you know, they doing their separate things. Which I'm kind of sad to hear about that, because I actually like Infamous Mob, because you know, that QB unity that was popping back in the 90s and 2000s, even the 80s. You know, I wish they kind of like get back together and stuff, but you know, Tiny, they all doing their thing. You know, Big Twin Gambino, he's doing his thing. Godfather, Godfather, he's doing his thing too. But I just wish they got back together, because they actually make dope music. Infamous Blood Thicker Than Water Volume 1 released in 2004. I didn't get their other 2 albums. Their special edition, which I believe is their best album, and the Reality Rap. Then we got Black Sheep's second album, Nonfiction, released in 1994. My opinion, this is better than the original album, the first album. Although the first album was dope, but this one for me hits harder for me. This actually has like a more of a jazzy vibe to it, even though the first one does too. But this one, it kind of reminds me of like, you know, it's like more of a DITC type of vibe. Like sometimes I can hear like Showbiz and AG rapping over and stuff like that. You know what I mean? If they was to make an album back in like '93, this would be the album that I could see them on. Like, you know, like the Legion, Showbiz, you know, Ruff, Finesse, and those cats. You know what I mean? Albums, singles I was known for. I believe the only single off the album is Without a Doubt. The Salam Levy produced that joint, and I believe North, South, East, West was a single as well. But I believe the only video was Without a Doubt. Overall, very dope. I highly recommend it if you like Black Sheep. If you're into like DITC, that type of shit, then I would definitely recommend checking this album out. Black Sheep, Non-Fiction, released in 1994. And we got Main Source's first album, Breaking Atoms, released in 1991. I mean, need I say more? Classic album. Highly recommend checking this album out. If you're a fan of Lost Professor, fan of Queens hip hop, you know, you're just a fan of early 90s hip hop, pretty solid. Known for songs like Just Hanging Out, Looking at the Front Door, Just a Friendly Game of Baseball, which they talk about police brutality, but he uses it as a baseball metaphor. I thought that was pretty cool. And Live at the Barbecue. I mean, Nas's first appearance on Wax. I believe, Nas's first appearance on Wax. I mean, you know, when he said snuffing out, when I was told I went to hell for snuffing Jesus, that just set it all off, you know what I mean? But overall, dope album. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of Large Professor, like I said, Queens hip hop. In fact, I'm trying to get the second album, Fuck What You Think. I think that's what it's called. I forgot the name of it. But that was a dope album. But I feel like that was actually slept on because Lost Professor wasn't on it. Mikey D did his thing on that second album, but very dope album as well. If I get my hands on that, I'll definitely pick that shit up. And we got Cormega Special Edition. This is just the realness and true meaning together. It's a 2-disc set. Thank God. Thank God it's not like, you know, one of those dual discs and shit. You know what I mean, like a flipper. Very dope. I already showed you guys the copy that I have of True Meaning. Pretty dope. This is The Realness. The Realness is a classic album. Definitely a must-have in your collection. For fans of, you know, lyricism and shit like that, QB, Queensbridge hip hop. If you're a fan of Nas and that type of shit, you know, that's definitely the album to pick up. Cormega, he's definitely one of my favorite MCs. Definitely very slept on. He's ill with the pen, you know what I mean? Very dope. Then we got Artifacts, the second album, That's Them, released in 1997. Pretty solid album, I really like it. Highly slept on in my opinion, because a lot of people, they know them for their first album, Between a Rock and a Hard Place. But very dope album. Singles I was known for, I believe The Ultimate, which was a single. The Showbiz remix is dope too. Collaboration of Mike's, pretty dope song with Ruff Finesse and Lord Jamal of Brand Nubian. Ruff Finesse, he does his thing on the beats and on the mic too. It's Getting Hot, which I believe was a single too. But this is the original version, and they have a DJ Spinner from Jig Masters. But that one was dope, but I actually prefer the original by I think Mr. Walt did the beat on that. Yeah, it was a beat minus beat. But I believe Mr. Walt did the beat on that, but I actually prefer the original better over the remix. And then we got Mobb Deep's The Infamous Archives. Pretty dope album. Funny thing about this album is that this album was actually not officially. This was in this is actually a bootleg, like meaning like, you know, it wasn't authorized for release by Mobb Deep. Like Mobb Deep didn't authorize a release for this album, so it's just like somebody who was just trying to cash in money just to put out money, just to put it out. This pretty much is songs from their Mobb Misses mixtapes, which is like songs that that unreleased songs that was recorded between like Hell and Earth, between the infamous Hell and Earth, Murder Music, all throughout like 2004, 2005, when they put out the Mob Mrs. mixtapes. If you guys didn't get the Mob Mrs. mixtapes and you wanted to know what those mixtapes were, this is pretty much a start to get with. But definitely I recommend you guys getting the go on J Love's website and go buy them shits, because them shits are classics, man. Mobb Deep Infamous Archives released in 2007. Go pick it up if you like old school Mobb Deep like I do. Then we got Buckshot Shorty B.D.I Thug, released in 1999. Overall, I feel like this song could have been a little bit better. It got some decent tracks. It's definitely not his best. I hate to say it, but his collab albums with Knife Wonder were actually better than this album. But that's not to say this was a whack album. It's far from it. I just felt like it could have been a little bit better. Some of the beats were kind of lackluster in my opinion. But like I said, he got some gems, like songs like what's the song? Trapped was dope. Follow with Pride. Breath Controls was like my favorite song. I actually told Buckshot that shit. I met him a couple years ago at the 15th anniversary Duck Down concert. Very cool guy, very humble. You know what I mean? He's like, I feel like I was talking to one of my dudes back home and shit. And same thing with Tech. You know what I mean? Dope dude, mad humble. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of Black Moon, that whole Bootcamp Clik family and stuff like that. And this is actually the OG copy. This is not the 03 release version that came out with 3 more songs, I believe. This is the actual OG copy released in 99. Buckshot B.D.I Thug released in 1999. Go pick it up. And we got this album, Organized Confusion's last album that they recorded together, Equinox, released in 1997. Very, very dope album. Highly slept on in my opinion. Very underrated. Very dark. It has like a real cinematic vibe to it. Singles I was known for are Sugar Shorty, excuse me, Somehow Some Way. I believe those were the only singles. I know Somehow Some Way was a single, if I'm not mistaken. Very dope, very gritty beats. Like I said, it has like a real cinematic vibe to it, dark cinematic vibe to it. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of Pharoah Monch, you're a fan of Queens hip hop, just dope music, underground hip hop. Highly recommend it. Very hard to come by, if I'm not mistaken. Very dope. Then we got the Rewind Hip Hop DVD magazine. Nothing to it, just show like interviews and kind of like a Smack DVD type of joint. You know what I mean? It's just like a magazine, kind of like it's self-explanatory. It's kind of like you reading the source, but in DVD version, pretty much. Then we got Shyheim, aka the Ghetto Child, aka the Rugged Child, excuse me, released in 1994. Classic album. For fans of Wu-Tang, early to mid 90s hip hop, I highly recommend checking this album out. Known for songs like On and On, which is like my favorite track from him. Once for the Money, which was a single as well. And I believe that's it. I believe those are the only singles, but very dope. Here Comes the Hits, dope beat. I mean, it starts off the album well. On and On, like I said before. Pass It Off, which is a single as well. RNS, he's definitely a dope producer. I wish he put out more stuff, you know what I mean? Very dope MC. RNS, he's also known for his work with Shyheim, obviously, and I believe GP Wu, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, very dope album. Highly recommended. I'm trying to get his other 2 albums, The Lost Generation and Manchild, but those are hard to come by. And we got Lauryn Hill's The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, released in '98. I mean, there's not much to say about this album. Definitely a must-have in your collection. Even if you're a fan of the Fugees, you'll definitely enjoy this album. This is like more of an R&B album. You just hear Lauryn Hill just sing her guts out, this is her only album that she ever put out. I wish she put out more music. From what I understand, that she's going through some legal woes. People, with taxes and stuff like that. Hopefully, she holds her head up. Lauryn Hill, man, definitely a classic album. Known for songs like Doo-Wop, which was a big song back in '98. X Factor. I believe that's it. But Doo-Wop was a big song when that came out back in '98. Pretty dope. Highly recommend it for fans of music in general. Highly recommend it. And we got Paris' second album, Sleeping with the Enemy, released in 1992. My opinion, his best album. Very dope. Dope West Coast MC. For fans, if you're into political rap, like kind of like The Coop, Public Enemy, shit like that, this is the album to pick up. This album is known for songs. The biggest song off the album was, I believe, what was the song? Bush Killer and Asada's song. That's like one of my favorite songs off the album. Actually, my first introduction to Paris was the song The Days of Old. If you guys seen that movie Strapped back in '93 with Bokeem Woodbine and Frederick Starr, they actually played that song in that movie, and that's how I found out about Paris. And I picked this album up. Very dope. For fans of early '90s West Coast or just political hip hop, if you're a fan like old Ice Cube, shit like that, you'll definitely enjoy this album. And we got this album, Dr. Dre, Back in the Day, released in 1996. If you're expecting like the Chronic and shit like that, you'll be highly disappointed. This is pretty much a compilation album of songs that he's done back in the '80s before N.W.A. This is when he was part of the whole Wrecking Crew and stuff like that. So I'm talking like mid '80s, like '85, '86. This is pre N.W.A. Dr. Dre and pre Chronic Death Row Dr. Dre. You have to be a fan of Dr. Dre to really appreciate this album. Might be a little hard to find. I got this at a pawn shop years back. I was like, okay, let me pick it up. Looks interesting, so I picked it up. I don't think that's actually an official album. Actually, I think it was released by Blue Dolphin Entertainment. So probably like some company trying to cash in on Dr. Dre. Jay-Z's Hard Knock Life Volume 2. Definitely one of his best albums. Classic album in my opinion. Very big, one of the biggest albums to come out in '98. Known for songs like Hard Knock Life, which was my introduction to Jay-Z. And I was 11 years old when this album came out. So 11 years old, you're not really thinking much of music like that. Nigga What, No Nigga Who, featuring Jazzo, or Big Jazzo as he was known back then. Money Cash Hoes, featuring DMX and Ja Rule, classic song. Can I Get with Emil and Ja Rule. It's Alright, which was a single as well. Very dope album. Very dope song. And Money Ain't a Thing, which was actually featured on Jermaine Dupri's first album, Life in 1472, which I have a copy of. Overall, very dope. Jay-Z in his prime, in my opinion. Jay-Z now, I'm not really feeling. I'm not the biggest Jay-Z fan, but he has put out some dope albums, so I can't front on that. Styles P, A Gangster and a Gentleman, released in 2002, his first album. Classic album, in my opinion. I don't care what nobody says. Definitely a must-have for fans of Rough Ryders, DMX, shit like that. I highly recommend it. Known for songs like I Get High, Black Magic with Angie Stone, very dope song. My Life featured Pharoah Monch, very dope song. Remember when that song first came out? That was pretty big back in the day. Highly recommend it. Definitely his best album that he's put out so far. His other albums were pretty cool, but this album, he hasn't come out with a dope album as this, just as this, you know what I mean? This Styles P, Gangster and Gentleman, released in 2002, excuse me. Then we got Big Noyd's second album, Only Strong, released in 2003. Big Noyd, he's actually one of my favorite MCs from QB. Very underrated. He has an ill flow. His flow is crazy. The biggest song off the album, I believe, is Shoot 'Em Up Bang Bang Part 2 featuring Mobb Deep. That song is actually featured on, I believe, Mobb Deep's Free Agents album. the compilation album that they put out the same year in '03. Very dope album. Big Noyd doing his thing. Definitely one of his best albums. I need to get his Episodes of a Hustler album that came out in '96. They just re-released it, so I need to get that before that shit goes out of print again. But Big Noyd, Only the Strong, released in 2003. Pick it up. Then we got Vicious or Little Vicious with his first album, Destination Brooklyn, released in 1994. A must-have in your collection if you're a fan of 90s dancehall like I am. A must-have. Known for songs like Freaks, was like the big song. It was like the biggest song of the album. Nika, which I believe features Beanie Man. Nika. No, it doesn't. But known for songs where Freaks was like the biggest song of the album. Life of a Shorty featuring Shyheim, very dope song. The Glock, which was actually my introduction to Little Vicious. When I first seen the video, about like 10 years ago, like over a decade ago, I was like, yo, I have to get that album because just based on that song is whoo, the beat for that shit, man. I can see like that being over something Shyheim would have rapped over in AK on his first album. That's how ill that shit is. Overall, very dope. If you like early 90s dancehall like I do, highly recommend that shit. And we got Royal Flush's Ghetto Millionaire. This is his first album, released in 1997. A classic album, very slept on and very underrated. I feel like he's underrated in general. Very dope MC, man. Friends with him on Facebook. Cool cat, you know, very humble. My opinion, I always say this, but I feel like this album is like the Queen's version of Cuban Links. Don't believe me? Listen to Cuban Links and listen to this album, and you'll see what I mean. You know what I mean? Definitely dope. Known for songs definitely known for songs like Ice Time Medallion, Moving Your Week Productions, which I believe was his first single. Worldwide was a single as well. Only gripe with this album is he didn't put Rotten Apple, which was a dope ass song, but I think it's just probably, you know, sample clearances, and that's probably why he didn't put that song in the album. Alright, but Ghetto Millionaire, released in 1997. Pick it up. Change the song real quick. Alright. Then we got Dipset's first album, The Diplomats, Diplomatic Immunity. Dope album, released in 2003. Very big song when it came out. Known for songs like What's Really Hood. What's the songs? What I Really Mean It. What's the other song? What's that one song? Yeah, I Really Mean It. Bout It. Dipset Anthem. Overall, dope album. Then we got Crime Wave. Scripture 1, The Beginnings of. Released in 2002. Very dope. Dope group from the Bronx. For my underground heads, you guys might not know who the Crime Wave are, but for my underground heads that might know, if you guys remember the MC Seamus, he came out with the song, what's that song? I believe it's called Big Willie Style. If you guys remember that song, well, this is the group that he was under, and that he's under. This is his group. Very dope. For fans of real New York hip hop, I highly recommend this album. If you guys like, you know, stuff like Mobb Deep and like stuff like that, or like Capone-N-Noreaga, Mobb Deep, but late 90s, early 2000s Mobb Deep, you know what I mean, like around around, you know, Murder Music, the Infamy album, you know, Capone-N-Noreaga with the Reunion album. If you like that kind of shit, then you'll definitely enjoy this album. Crime Wave, Scripture 1, The Beginning of, released in 2002. Pick it up. Known for that, had a one single, Think Big, which is what made me want to get this album. Definitely has like that Mobb Deep vibe to it. Then we got Eminem's Infinite, his first album. This was released in 1996. And no, this is not an official copy. I got this off eBay. Some jackass, you know, he gave me a burnt copy, which is illegal. You're not supposed to do that. I got this back in 2001. I was like, I got it for like $6, so I was like, whatever. I picked it up. You know what I mean? At that time, I was really big on Eminem and shit. So, but very dope, very dark, very different from the Slim Shady shit. But Eminem in his prime, very dope. This is when he used to mess with DJ Head and all those cats. Then we got New Jersey Drive Volume 1, very dope. Known for songs like dope movie too. Known for songs like Black Panther Do What You Want, which they have a video for. Don't Shut Down the Play by L.L. Scratch. Total featuring Notorious B.I.G. Can't You See, which was a big single back then. What else? Benz and Beamer with Outkast. That was a single too as well. And Maze and Frank Beverly, Before I Let Go, which was a classic song, classic funk song. Highly recommend this compilation out, this soundtrack, if you can find it, because it's actually out of print. Then we got Volume 2, very dope album. In my opinion, I feel like this is better than the first one. It's only, it feels like more like an EP, you know what I mean? To me, it has like the better songs. Like you got E Brothers Funky Piano, very dope beat by the late and great DJ Rock Raider, dope and producer and DJ with the scratches. Black Moon Smith & Wesson or Boot Camp Clik, Heads Ain't Ready, Jerry Damager, Invasion. That song was actually featured on his second album, Rap for the Math. Dope album, I need to get that. Mad Lion on Destiny. It was actually featured on his Real Ting album. Very dope album. Overall, very dope. OC and Organized Confusion, You Won't Go Far. Classic song, very dope. Alright. Then we got Mr. Doctor, Set Trip and Lifestyle. Black Style, released in 1995. Very dope album. If you're a fan of Brotherly Tongue and that type of shit, I highly recommend this album. Known for songs, I believe Black Star was like the only single off this album. I highly recommend this album. Very dope, very dark. Brotherly, if you're into Brotherly Tongue's early music from the 90s, like Season of the Sickness, Brotherly Tongue, then you'll definitely enjoy this album. And we got LL Cool J's 14 Shots to the Dome, released in 93. In my opinion, definitely one of his best albums, very underrated. This is when he went to the more hardcore route, just like what I mentioned about Big Daddy Kane. Very dope group, very dope album. Known for songs like How I'm Coming, Bucking Them Down, Pink Cookies in a Plastic Bag, Getting Crushed by Buildings. You guys already know what that means. Straight for Queens, Backseat, which I believe was a big single off this album. That and Pink Cookies was like a big single off this album. Overall, very dope. Some of Marley Marl, QD3, who is Quincy Jones' son. Very dope album. I highly recommend it. For fans of LL Cool J and stuff like that, pick it up. They got Joel Santana's From Me to You, released in 2003 or 2004, I believe. 2003. Dope song, dope album. Known for songs like Santana's Town, Raindrops and shit like that. Very dope album. I like it a lot. Mike Geronimo, The Natural, his best album in my opinion. Released in 1995. Known for songs like Master IC, The Natural, Shit Is Real, classic Queens hip hop. Highly recommend it. Then we got Brooklyn Tongues, Lynch by Inch, Suicide Note, released in 2003. Could have been a little bit better. Because with the DVD, it talks about it's a 2-disc or 3-disc actually. It's a 2-disc album and a DVD, and it talks about how you grew up and shit like that. I'm gonna stop it right there. I'm gonna show you guys the rest of the albums because my camera can only record 30 minutes, so you know what I mean. So I'm gonna cut this short. Stay tuned for part 2 of part 7. All right, peace.